Bust a Move for the Super Nintendo was released in 1995, just 1 year after the arcade original. As you've no doubt played this title or one of the dozens of sequels or knockoffs over the years, I'm going to instead focus on what makes this version unique. Bust a Move for the Super Nintendo features a total of 99 levels, plus a final boss level, compared to the arcade's 30 levels. From what I can tell, most, if not all, the original 30 levels remain, with an additional 66 created for this version. The SNES release also features some special bubbles that offer some variety to the basic formula. The Zapper Bubble shoots across the screen, clearing all bubbles in its path, causing the remaining bubbles to fall. The Fire Bubble is a bomb of sorts and clears all bubbles in its blast radius. Again, any bubbles that are left hanging will also fall from the playfield. Lastly, there is the Water Bubble. This is the least interesting of the three and simply turns into a waterfall, changing all bubbles in its path to the same color. I never really figured out how to use this to my advantage. Aesthetically, this Super Nintendo version feels faithful to the original. The colors and sprites all feel correct, and it doesn't appear many sacrifices were made porting this over. With the additional levels also come additional backgrounds to help break up the visual monotony. One major thing has been omitted, however. In the arcade version, the music would speed up the closer the bubbles got to the bottom edge of the screen. The increased pace of the music would create great tension and really give you a sense of urgency to complete the level, but that tension is absent in this version. Still, that classic Bust a Move tune is recreated surprisingly well, considering the sound hardware is completely different. As I haven't memorized the original 30 levels, I'm not exactly sure which levels are new for this version. I do recognize a few marquee levels, but generally they are mostly a blur for me. I guess that's a good thing, as it means the new levels have matched the quality of the original Bust a Move. My favorite thing about Bust a Move is the variety offered in the levels. It's more than just shooting bubbles up at the playfield. Some levels can be cleared quickly if you are able to hit a well-placed shot at the top of the playfield. Other levels require you to think a few steps ahead, instead focusing on clearing out a section of the level in order to reveal the large clump of light-colored bubbles hiding above. Still, other levels are just gauntlets with no hidden patterns or tricks, requiring you to place each bubble perfect without allowing much room for error. It's this variety that helps make Bust a Move a good marathon game for me. I played for nearly 2 hours straight recording the footage for this review. The game just has a way of keeping me hooked for extended periods of time. If you are playing for points, Bust a Move has always featured a fairly deep scoring system for its age. You receive bonus points for completing the level quickly, which rewards skill. You also receive points if you are able to clear more than 3 bubbles at a time. The more bubbles you can get to drop at once, the quicker your score multiplies. This rewards strategy. There are other things to keep in mind as well. If you have 8 different bubble colors on the playfield, it will take longer for the playfield to shrink down compared to if you have just 2 or 3 different colored bubbles. Learning all these little nuances just adds to the depth. Bust a Move for the Super Nintendo is certainly not the definitive version of the series, especially as the music doesn't change based on your situation. But other than that, this is a really solid entry. The additional levels, background graphics, and special bubbles definitely make it worth a look. Bust a Move for the SNES is good.